Hi, everybody. This is Beth Branham from Opportunities Inc. And with me, I have Brett Gillio from Big Sky Therapeutic. And we are going to present today on a kind of a core overview of conscious discipline that we're going to be going into further as each week comes. So today we're just going to give you kind of an overview and a basis of what we're going to be talking about in the weeks to come.
So in the conscious discipline model, they talk about brain state models. And at the core is the survival state, which is where we need safety. And for kids, when they're in the survival state, they're often having tantrums, fighting, physical reactions. When they're in the emotional state, which is where they need to connect, we see a lot of back talking, sassing, yelling, or verbal reactions. And often kids just want to feel as if they're loved. And when we're all in our executive state, we're able to problem solve. We ask ourselves, what can we learn? And that's really where we operate from day to day when life is going well for us.
Okay, so one of the main core components or the basis of conscious discipline is safety. And safety is really what we're going to be focusing on for the next few weeks because it's kind of what you need to have in place first before going on to the others. So safety is going to deal with our most primitive state of our brain, which you can see on the slide there in red. And everything having to do with safety we'll have in red. And when you're in this kind of a flight or fight situation, our skill set is pretty limited. We're not able to form connections. We're not able to problem solve very well. We're just trying to kind of get through the day. And our brain functions best when we feel safe. So that's why we need to look at this piece first. And really what conscious discipline is about is not so much teaching the kids, but teaching us as adults how to regulate our emotions so we can help our kids regulate theirs, and we can be an example to them of how to build new skills and how to respond to, times that are hard.
So in the safety section, there's two components that two skills that we learn. One is composure, and it's about being the person you want others to become, which is about having control over ourselves so we can help others. And then the other skill is assertiveness, how to say no and being heard and setting limits for kids. We also want to work on our perception that others can't make us angry. It's really about our perception of these events that are occurring, and also figuring out what to focus our attention on. And what we'll talk about is if we focus on what's going well, kids are more likely to continue to display those positive behaviors.
Okay, so the next part that we'll kind of learn about and that has a different set of skills is going to be connection. So once we've kind of built some skills around our self-regulation and our safety, then we can really look at this connection piece. So when we have or build connections with other people, then we're able to build more connections in our brain, and same goes for our kids. So, and building relationships helps us to, as Brett was kind of talking about, look at our perceptions of situations, what is actually happening versus what kind of story we're telling that's happening. And then we can increase cooperation with our kids, which we all would like to do because it gets hard sometimes. And then increase both our willingness and our kids' willingness to learn new skills and maybe try a different way. Our emotional state, which is that in the blue, it can really be triggered when things aren't going our way. So we have to really work on that so that we don't get, triggered back down into that, kind of primitive state or that fight or flight. Because self-regulation and managing our own thoughts and feelings is really going to be key to being able to show our kids a good example and ourselves.
In the connection chapters, we'll talk about encouragement, how to encourage kids and families, and it's about working together, that we're all in this together, and that's the power. And through encouragement and connection, um, kids are ready, people are ready to learn more when we're in this state. It's also about teaching kids the skill of choices, that they have choices and that kids have free will, that you can make changes by making choices. And then the third skill is we're going to talk about empathy, which is teaching children how to manage their own emotions, which is difficult for all of us. And then also just acceptance, that sometimes what's happening is happening, and but we can manage ourselves. So, and if we have empathy with our kids, we teach and role model that, and they'll learn how to do that more independently on their own.
Okay, so finally, once we're able to kind of go through that safety stuff and then build those connections, we're really in a position to problem solve. This is the executive state, and this is what we want to get to. Not to say that we'll be able to stay in this all the time. We might get flipped back down and, into an emotional state, or even our kind of primitive state. But the idea is that we shorten that time that we're in those states and we're able to kind of flip back into this problem solving mode quicker. So after we're able to feel safe and connected, then we can use our brain, all our brain power for learning and problem solving. I know when I have a real high stress situation, it can be really hard to work through and to problem solve without kind of talking yourself down and kind of getting yourself into that state of calm. Because when we're calm and relaxed, we're able to function better. And I'm sure you can see that, in your house, when things get stressful, it's really hard not to maybe go into that emotional state and maybe resort to yelling or things like that. So once we're able to kind of build those skills, then the skill sets around problem solving are really limitless. Um, and if we're able to, how it says under the picture of the little girl, if we're able to change our response to conflict, that makes us more resilient, and then that helps us build resilience in our kids. And then we're able to kind of handle whatever comes our way. It doesn't totally break us down. We're able to say, okay, this is what it is, and kind of move forward.
So the skills that we're going to learn in the problem solving or executive functioning state is positive intent, is creating teaching moments um, by understanding that kids and what their intent is and how we can teach those skills in the moments. And then also helping kids understand consequences, that mistakes happen, and that there are opportunities to learn, because consequences aren't always negative. They're just opportunities to learn and grow from. And so if we can get kids to this executive functioning problem solving state and out of that safety and emotional state, we all do better and kids learn more.
Okay, so this slide is really talking about giving you an overview of what you can learn and through conscious discipline. So one, a really big thing is seeing a behavior as a call for help. All behavior is a form of communication. It's some kind of need that is wanting to be met. And we can't stop that, but we can transform it. We can, as some of these past slides have talked about, we can see the moment as it is, and then we can make a change ourselves. We can't change other people, but we can change ourselves, and we can change how we respond, and then we can assume positive intent. It's easy to kind of assign things to feelings or behaviors, like, my child is trying to make me angry by, doing this or doing that. But if we always assume positive intent and kind of flip that story around, it really puts us in a position to, self-regulate and then move on through, connection and then into that problem-solving state. The second thing is it'll help teach children how to self-regulate through our responses um, to upset. So the higher center of our brain regulates that lower part, allowing us to achieve goals instead of being very impulsive or reactive, which is really easy to get into that kind of impulsive position. When you're stressed, you're trying to help your kids with maybe their schoolwork, and then you're also working from home, and then you got to make dinner, and it's just all these different things, easy to get kind of a short fuse. So if we can kind of, as adults, learn how to regulate ourselves, we can really show that to our kids. Um, Third, we kind of talked about is the connections that we build on the outside really help to build the neural connections on the inside. And then something that we're going to talk about in one of these next slides here is that rituals build connections. And what we offer to others, we strengthen in ourselves. So when we're, showing others kindness and we're self-regulating and responding in better ways, then we really strengthen that in our kids as well. Um, and then the last kind of part is we'll be able to teach social skills to our kids, which helps our family, function better. And, it is a tough time right now. So this will be really helpful in our homes to kind of keep on our routine the best that we can and also still be teaching those skills to our kids.
In part of the conscious discipline curriculum, I talk a lot about I love you rituals. And this is one song that we all know, and we get to watch a video here, hopefully, if it works correctly. Taking the song Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, turning it into a movement, touch, and connect with kids. As you can, the words in the red are what you do with the child, and the words in the blue is what you sing. So, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, as the adult and child face each other, they'll wiggle, touch their fingers together. What a wonderful child you are. They smile at each other with bright eyes and nice round cheeks. And the adult touches the kid's cheeks and eyes. And usually kids just light up when we start to make this real connection with them. And the more connected we are, the more likely they are to regulate. And we'll watch a video here, but the red is kind of what we can do with our kids, and the blue is what you sing.
Twinkle, twinkle,